how did you start? How did you get that first customer? How did you, what was it like getting the payments, the other payments providers or the banks on side with what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, the original version of Helcim, like, so Helcim kind of 1.0, right? I started well over a decade ago. I was in my mid-20s, and it wasn't a startup. You mean the word startup in Calgary didn't exist. The word VC didn't exist. Like, it wasn't, you just started a small business. I convinced, I was a reseller, so I went to a big bank, and they had a kind of a white label reseller program where you could kind of resell their merchant services. And I said, okay, well, I could do a better job, and you had some control over pricing, and you can certainly do a better job on the customer service. And the first year, we got 49 customers. So we convinced 49 small businesses to sign up for our service. And, it was a very, very slow grind. Didn't pay myself a salary for for a number of years as we were, trying to figure this thing out. And what it did, though, is that it gave me a front row kind of education to the world of payments, the world of banking, and over time, we had a big relaunch of our company about a little under 2 years ago in June of 2020. That's when we relaunched our entire company. That's the Helcim kind of 2.0 as a full, the industry kind of geeky term is payment facilitator. So we are fully in charge of our destiny. It's our service. We underwrite. We deliver the funds. We are a true payments company on the level of a PayPal or anybody else. But that took a decade. That took a decade of building a business over time, making the right connections, making the right relationships, convincing regulators and everything to get to the point where we could actually do it on our own. It was quite a journey.
Wow. Overnight success takes 5 years at least, hey?
I would say a decade for us.
Yeah. Wow. And I like that, though. I mean, that's coming into the market by saying, hey, we could go and be a reseller and convince 49 people to come on board. You're now in business, right? Like, the best way to be successful in business is to be in business. And please carry on. Yeah,
the bootstrap portion of it teaches you. I have no regrets on that side. I mean, it's very much you have to get really, really deep into how your business, your unique economics, everything has to be hyper efficient because you're building a real business. Versus, I think when you're venture backed, there's an advantage to it where you can kind of pave over certain problems with money and kind of get back to them later. And but what Bootstrap has taught us is how to build a really viable, successful business on its own. And then finally, we were bootstrapping for a very long time, and then, just a few weeks ago, we announced our first kind of capital, venture-backed investment. But that's something that was a very long journey to get to that point and make that decision to switch.
Now, you've grown over 10 years now. What do you have, over 100 employees?
Yeah, we're almost 120 today.
Wow, good for you, man. And I want to get into the financing, into that growth, and what that whole experience was like, because I think that's a very unique event in any company's history or timeline, or it can be unique events. But how about growing over the last 10 years and to see yourself at 120 employees? How was that, and what were some of the pivotal moments or the mind shifts you had to make to start to accommodate and grow?
Yeah, so what we did is that the old business grew to about 50 people. So that's how the bootstrap business, and that was up to about 2 years ago. So it slowly grew, added one person every day. The way we looked at it was, in my mind, it was never about how much money can I extract out of a business. It was never part of the way I looked at building a business. I had a quick formula in my head, which was around every time there's an extra 5,000 or so in free cash flow for the month, I can hire one more person. So I would wait for the bookkeeper to, which is actually my mom, who still works with us today. And it's like, how much extra did we make this month? And she might say $11,000. Like, great, I'm hiring 2 people next week. And I was always the mindset where just to try to build it into what we hope to build it one day, right? And what was happening behind the scene is that we were a reseller of merchant services, but we were building. It took us almost 4 years to build the Helcim 2.0 behind the scenes, right? So as we were kind of building out our own payment technology stack and our own fraud systems and our own everything. So the old business was kind of the seed investor to the new one. So we're taking every dollar we could out of the old one and trying to build the future that we really wanted to build. But it was very much like every month, how much free cash flow, just a little bit more, okay, squeeze in one more person to try to build this thing out.
Very cool.